once again, Steve.
Thanks, Peter. Over here at the Southern Cross, a large crowd of Richmond supporters are really getting stuck into the spirit of the night. With me, I've got a very well-known old Tiger, Kevin Sheedy, a member of 3 premiership teams. There's just nothing like it, is there, Kev?
No, there isn't. And the players, well, they're really joyful because naturally it's a remarkable effort coming from 8 into winning a premiership after being out of probably a grand final since 1974.
And what a way to do it, a record-winning margin.
Yes.
And a little fella, Kevin Bartlett, doing it his own way yet again.
Well, we are, and I mean we, the people of Melbourne are just blessed by watching this young man, as he says, kick 21 goals in a final series is a magnificent achievement.
Well, it's a new record, I believe. Jack Mueller did kick 20 in 1948.
Golly.
And he was about the same age.
But, you know, this bloke's kicking him from a flank. That's the embarrassing part of it.
What a great night. The only thing we're missing here is the players.
Well, they're all winding up outside.
Well, they're getting ready.
Very keen.
Peter, we'll go back to you, and if you'd like to come back to us at the Southern Cross in a few minutes, we'll welcome the players and their jubilant coach, Tony Jewell. Back to you.
Right, thanks very much, Steve. That sounds like pretty good advice to us, and it certainly looks as though it's going to be a swinging place, the old Southern Cross tonight. And we'll be going back there a little bit later on. Graham McNaney is making his way down to the Hilton Hotel to find out how the Magpies are commiserating with themselves after their loss this afternoon. But first of all, we'll take this break. You're watching Grand Final Roundup. It's been a long day, 1980. That's at the Hilton Hotel. Well, things are certainly swinging up at the Southern Cross. Peter McKenna has just joined us, and you heard Peter on our commentary team during the year. And first of all, Peter, congratulations on your commentary.
Thank you, Peter.
We were delighted to have you with us. As Graham said, you would be getting a little bit used to this out at Collingwood.
Well, I thought that was a bit of a nasty dig. It's too true, though. But I think that Tom Hapey could be quite proud of the Collingwood players for their year's effort. I know it's easy to, you know, it's hard on a losing team, but they're not a greatly talented side, and I reckon they did pretty well to get where they did.
John Hickey made a good point in 7 National News tonight. He ran through the list of injured players that Collingwood could have had in the side and certainly would have had in the side had they been fit.
Yes, they had a lot of injuries, Pete, but I certainly don't think you can use that as an excuse. Richmond had injuries too. They had players that had just come back after being out 3 or 4 weeks, and I think that no side in the league could have beaten Richmond on today's performance. I thought it was one of the most outstanding exhibitions of football I've seen in a long time.
How did you rate the game of Kevin Bartlett?
Well, he's amazing, you know, like for 34 years of age to read the play as he does, and you know, I think, you know, you could hear the Richmond cheer squad there this afternoon yelling out Bartlett all afternoon, and they're so wrapped in him, and rightly so, too. A great performance.
A worthy winner, therefore, of the Norm Smith medal, as you see it?
I thought that was an ideal choice, and, you know, I'd like to personally congratulate him myself, because, as I say, you know, a player of his age to still be in league football, a tremendous performance.
Peter, as a former top 4 forward yourself, I guess you would have been very disappointed with the effort of the Collingwood forwards today. They seem to lack, by comparison with Richmond, who had Cloak and Roach and so on, a lot of marking power up on the forward line.
Well, they do. They haven't got any outstanding players, Pete, on that forward line, and they haven't got a real focal point of attack. They've had players all year. They've switched and changed in their key positions. And I think that in the next couple of years they've got to recruit some top key forwards if they're going to be a power in league football.
Were you surprised when Tommy Hapey took Craig Davis off the field? Because I thought at that stage Davis, although he hadn't been brilliant, had been one of their more constructive forwards.
Well, I think that's amazing you asked that question, because I thought that was a dreadful move, because I thought that Davis was really putting in. He was a real goer. And I got a heck of a shock when I saw him sitting on the bench. And secondly, the fact that Ricky Barham went on the ground when he obviously had a hamstring injury.
Do you think that he was therefore injured before he took the field? Because he did seem, as I saw it, to get a rather heavy knock. I think it was about midway through the first quarter.
Yes, he did get a heavy knock, but I think if you got at all in doubt with a hamstring injury, Pete, you should never take the field, because that is one injury in football you certainly cannot carry.
All right, well, we didn't seem to carry it too well today. Peter, stay with us for the rest of our program. You're watching Grand Final Roundup on Channel 7, and we'll be going out to the Southern Cross and back to the Hilton in a few moments' time. First of all, we'll take this break. Grand Final Roundup on Channel 7. Richmond celebrating tonight at the Southern Cross Hotel, and I can just see a huge cake in the shape of a football has just been wheeled into the ballroom. Let's go back now to Stephen Phillips and find out the story about it.
Thanks very much, Peter. Kevin, it's a great sight seeing that cup come into the room.
By gee, it is. I think it's our 10th. We're actually in double figures now at Richmond.
And a cake too.
Well, I think the boys deserve that, and they've got that tiger rug there, and that's what Richmond Football Club's all about.
Well, that tiger rug's got a great tradition behind it, like the club.
Yes.
It used to be worn by an old man-eater up in India, I believe.
Apparently, that tiger there ate a number of villages, about
13,
10,
I believe.
10 or 13 or something like that. But I think that that's what Richmond's about. Every club's got a soul, and the tiger is the soul of the Richmond club.
Well, after 339 games, I think Kevin Bartlett could just about replace that old tiger in a few years.
I would say that there's a big chance from, he's just so magnificent. And when the people really acclaimed his performance after the finals, when he was congratulated and given the medal.
Norman Smith medal by Ron Barassi.
Unbelievable, wasn't it? How everybody right around the magnificent stadium clapped.
Well, at this very stage, the president of the Richmond Football Club, Ian Wilson, is just about to start introducing the players. And here they come. Number 1, Mark Lee. And what a game he played, Kevin.
Yes, the biggest thing out of Mildura since the great, that boy.
And didn't he give Peter Moore a football lesson?
Well, his greatest skill today was really the contesting issue of bringing the ball down to the ground for our little men.
Here comes the Robert Wiley from Western Australia.
Well, after his year last year, where a lot of people were disappointed, Robert Wiley has trained tremendously well and deserves the acclaims that the critics, particularly at Richmond, have given him.
And here comes another great local boy, Dale Waitman.
Pound for pound, the best tackler in league football, as you can see today, and the number of times he intercepted hand passes was magnificent.
And here comes the man who ruled the centre today, Jeffrey Rains, and he copped a lot of heavy knocks.
Oh, gee, he's copped one on the head there, and it could affect his modelling career.
Don't say that to him. Here comes the big fellow, Constable Plod, Emmett Dunn.
Yes, well, it's about time the policemen have come good, really, but he played a great game. He's a flexible person on the back line for
This next fellow, Stephen Mount, I thought he was probably one of the key instigators of Richmond's win today.
Yes, he's probably known as crazy, but I'll tell you what,
bad job tonight.
He's not crazy tonight, is he? Oh, I hate selfish teammates. Goodness gracious me.
Here comes Mickey Malthouse, and Mickey's football career could have been put right on the line by the tribunal after the second sin.
Well, it's amazing. Last year he nearly left at the end of last season, and Mick's known as the Angry Ant.
And here comes Michael Roach, the Disco King.
Well, a player that's kicked over 100 goals, and his
broken the club record.
And his main task was to bring the ball to the ground once again.
And here comes the skipper, Bruce Monteith. He came off the bench late in the game.
Yes, he did, Stephen, and there's a story there. I think that the thing that's come out of 1980 for Bruce Monteith, that he is tough to accept all the issues the club have given him to make the grand final.
He's another tough player. Brian Wood, and he ruled his wing with an iron rod today.
Really marked the ball well today and played a fine game.
Another veteran, Mervyn Kane, a young veteran.
The quiet one of the team, and this is one of my favourite footballers, Mervyn Kane.
Greg Strawn's still got his medal on. I think you'd have to prise it off with a crowbar. He's got a limp where he trod on that needle during the week.
Well, they all start limping when they've won, don't they?
And here comes the Ghost. Well, it's good to see the Ghost dressed up tonight too.
It's amazing. I don't know where he's left his horse.
And he's got Laurie with him, his lovely wife.
Right.
We used to play football together in Avoca, Jimmy and I.
Really? Jimmy actually, in the end, come from St Kilda too, because they cleared him to Richmond.
Barry Rawlings, cleared by Hawthorn.
Yes, well, it's amazing how letting players go from clubs to club has been one of the successes behind Richmond.
And here he is. Here's a man they all want to see. They all want to pat his back, Kevin Bartlett.
Oh, gee, it's great to be a winner, isn't it, eh?
A standing ovation for the champ. 5 premierships.
I would say that Denise has won 3 and Kevin's won 2.
Oh, no, I think Denise's scrapbook will swell after this one.
No, I think they've been a fantastic couple for the Richmond club, and Kevin, as a person, is tremendous because he's never let football, the achievements he's had in football, affect him.
Well, Peter Welsh, perhaps the surprise packet of the finals.
Well, no doubt on the wing.
Michael Turner and then Ricky Barham.
Well, on the wing, Barham will come off the ground, but...
well, I think he'd taken care of him by that stage.
You think so? But I felt that his effort to come out from the back line, back pocket in particular, and play in the final on the wings, a great effort.
Well, the tangle foot of David Cloak almost put Richmond in a precarious position earlier. He missed 2 easy sitters.
Yes, he
probably made up with 6 more goals.
Probably could have broken the record with those 2 goals if he had kicked them, but what a player. Hadn't played for 5 weeks and comes back and kicks 6 goals, 4 in a grand final.
And the little redhead Darryl Freem came off the bench. and had a few kicks, and what a thrill that must be for a youngster.
No doubt about that. He should go and buy a ticket in Tats, because I would say that four weeks ago nobody would have thought he'd been a premiership side.
And here's one of the most underestimated youngsters in the game, Terry Smith. He took care of centre-half back. In the first half, he was outstanding.
Yes, he did a job there on Rene Kink, and he's a boy from up Tintinda Balrenal way, right from the duck shooting country and that.
Well, here's the man, Tony Jewell, in his second season as coach of Richmond, and his lovely wife, Marg. A very happy couple.
I'd say everybody's looking at Margaret, and not anybody at all will be watching Tony.
Marlon Brando, they call him around the tennis courts.
Well, he's the best plumber I know, other than a couple that are friends of mine.
And there's a song that I think everyone will love.
That's the feeling of a premiership win, isn't it?
Oh, it's wonderful. At this stage, I think we might go back to Peter Landy, and hopefully we can come back and talk to Tony and some of the players a little later on.
Fantastic, Steve.
Stephen Phillips and Kevin Sheedy obviously enjoying themselves up at the Southern Cross Hotel. As Graham McNady mentioned to us earlier, things a little bit quieter, predictably, up at the Hilton Hotel, where Collingwood were to celebrate, but now commiserating with themselves after their loss this afternoon. Captain Ray Shaw has consented to talk to us, and he's with Graham McNady now at Melbourne's Hilton Hotel.
Thank you, Peter. Yes, things very quiet here compared to what we can see down at the Southern Cross. With me, skipper Ray Shaw. It's a bad feeling, isn't it?
Well, it's not the best feeling in life, really. To be second is just about as good as finishing last, I'm afraid. But, you know, congratulations to Richmond. They were just far too good for us on the day.
3 hard finals games to get to the grand final. Did it take more out of the legs of the players than perhaps you first thought?
Oh, possibly, but, you know, I'm not taking anything away from Richmond. They made their own game. They got the bounce of the ball and different things like that. But, you know, the players, and to their credit, you know, we were down by 7 goals at half-time and different things like that. But they just kept on trying all the time. But, you know, Richmond was just too good.
Was there any stage in the game when you started to have real doubts about your ability to get back into it? Was it maybe as early as quarter-time, half-time, or to you was it later?
Yeah, I looked at three-quarter time, and you know, we were about 7 down, but during the year we'd been 9 goals down against Fitzroy, and we got up and won. And football's a very funny game where, you know, 7 goals down, it means you have to kick 1 goal every 3 minutes, and not that the other side score. But unfortunately, that just couldn't happen.
You looked pretty short and undermanned in key forward posts today, Ray. It showed up, didn't it?
Yes, unfortunately we were a bit short on our forward line, and you know, it's been our selectors' nightmare really over the last 3 or 4 weeks, having players like Alan Edwards and Ross Brewer out of our side, and Dennis Banks. But you know, there's no excuses. We went in the side with 20 players, and we thought they would have done the job, but unfortunately Richmond were just far too good on the day, and congratulations to them. They performed very well as a side, and that's just the way it goes, Bill.
Okay, thanks for taking the time to talk to us, Ray. I know how you and Tom and the players must feel tonight. If you can enjoy the rest of the night, please do, and thanks for talking to us.
Thank you very much.
Good. That was Collingwood captain Ray Shaw, and now back to Peter Landy.
Thank you, Graham. Graham McNaney at Melbourne's Hilton Hotel talking to Collingwood skipper Ray Shaw. You're watching Grand Final Roundup on 7, and we'll be back with more interviews after this. Southern Cross Hotel shortly. First of all, to you, Peter McKenna, just continuing from where we left off before. Collingwood's lack of class may have shown up today, but do you think that they really could have won the match with the players they had?
Well, when I first got there, Pete, and saw the nice fine day and no wind, and I thought they were going to really be up against it, because I really do think they are a side that has played at the best of their ability the last 3 weeks. And I thought, you know, at the start of the final series, they'd be lucky to get through the first one, to be quite honest, and that's North Melbourne. And as I said earlier, I reckon a tremendous effort, you know, by the Collingwood players to get exactly where they did. And it's very easy to turn around and talk about collywobbles and all that sort of thing. But as I say, it was a tremendous effort to get there.
It was a good effort from Collingwood. Richmond just too good on the day. Let's see how Richmond coach Tony Jewell sums up the situation. He's talking at the Southern Cross Hotel to Stephen Phillips.
Well, Pete, I tell you what, I think he's a very happy man. Tony, you said after the game that you weren't going to have a drink tonight. You wanted to savor the whole situation.
Till midnight. 12 o'clock, I'm going to get right into it. No, but I promised myself during the week that if we won it, I just want to enjoy the players' faces and really sort of just take it all in, and then when I'm satisfied, I'll really get into it.
Well, having talked to you over the past few weeks and about the final series, I don't think I've ever met anyone as confident that they'd win the flag. And it seems as though your confidence was justified.
Well, I suppose if it, once over the year, I got to know the feeling of the players, and and I could almost sense when we were going to get beaten, when we were going to win, and just over especially over the final series, as you well know, as I've been speaking to you about it, I just had this feeling of coming through from the players that just nothing was going to take it off us, and that's what's happened.
Well, two outstanding performances today. Mark Lee in the ruck took on the best in the game, and Kevin Bartlett, the old man of league football, well, 7 goals, a grand final record.
Yeah. Oh yes, I suppose if they're always going to sort someone out as the best players, but I just thought it was even though Kevin's performance was great and Mark Lee's was great, I just thought that the overall performance of the players was magnificent. I just really wouldn't like to pick out one or two.
They stuck to their plan, their discipline was excellent.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that.
Well, we'll see you on World of Sport tomorrow morning, Tony, and I'll keep well clear of you after midnight.
Good on you. Thanks, Steve.
Back to you, Peter.
Thanks, Steve. Stephen Phillips at the Southern Cross talking to Tony Jewell. Peter McKenna, just before we close the show tonight, Collingwood runners-up. We must congratulate them for getting to the grand final. Let's not forget that. But for Collingwood to go one step further next year, as you see it, what sort of player do they need, or what sort of players would they require?
Well, personally, as we said earlier, Pete, I think they need a full forward for sure. They'll certainly need another rover. Ronnie Wearmouth, I'm pretty sure he won't settle up next year. But on the credit side, they've got some damn good young players coming up. Dacos will be a player.
Well, he's only 19, isn't he?
Well, that's right. Dennis Banks is going to be a good player. Hanbury's going to be a great player, I feel. So, the future's looking good, and you Collingwood supporters out there, you stick with them because it's not that far away.
Tony Shaw, do you think that he could fill the shoes of Ronnie Wearmouth? Does he have the class that Ron had at his age?
Well, Tony's a real little goer. He's like his brother Ray, but can't kick far and probably lacks a yard. So Tony will probably need to do a bit of sprinting over the summer. But he's a dedicated little bloke. I'm sure he will.
All right, well, that's how Peter McKenna sees it, and that's how we saw the grand final for season 1980. A magnificent day before 113,000 people. We hope you enjoyed our telecast on Channel 7, and don't forget World of Sport tomorrow. But we've got more football coming up for you after Tats Lotto. It's a look at season 1980. That was the season that was, and I'll be back to host that in just a few moments' time.